Thank you very much for joining me on this Sunday. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. All right, a few areas to watch, no doubt typical for late September. Always common to be tracking something. This here, watching the Western Caribbean, another spot that is going to develop in the Atlantic. So I want to get into that. Now, we don't need anything to develop whatsoever, period, but especially in the wake of Helene that brought the significant flooding for so many. But this area here is going to be different from Helene. Potential of some development in the same area to start, but there are more variables in play. There's more things to watch and play that actually play into our favor. So I want to break that down, what I'm looking at for the week ahead. Now, a couple of the models are developing this area, a couple are not, but the short term, I'm watching the rain, right? Here's Jamaica. I've been going back and forth in the comments with you overnight. We've been tracking some scattered areas of rain and storms. The next 3 days, even some of that white shading showing up, but some of us could get about 75 millimeters of rain or 3 inches of rain. So for us in Jamaica, in the short term, isolated flooding will be possible, and then watching that eventually midweek as we work our way into the Cayman Islands. So let me get back to those models and break them down. Now, this area here, the American model yesterday was showing that this area would definitely develop into a hurricane, according to the model. But what it's showing now is that maybe a tropical storm tried to develop in the Eastern Caribbean. So it's backed off a little bit in development. That's awesome to hear, but I want to show you why, because I don't just look at the models. It's really what's going on in the environment that I'm monitoring, and it is different from what we had with Helene. Canadian model is showing this area becoming a tropical storm eventually, deeper into the week in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. And then we swing back toward the European model, which has not done a good job this year, but I believe it's doing a better job with this area, and it's not showing a storm developing. So we'll get into the reasons behind that. And the European model as well, like the Icon model, is also not showing a storm developing. So the models have either shown kind of a weaker scenario or are showing no development at this time. Short term, I'm going to see the flooding, and then long term, watching what we're seeing in the environment. So let's start with that. It's what's going on at the surface and above our heads. Now, you can see these water temperatures, about 29 degrees Celsius, 84 degrees Fahrenheit, right through here. That is enough for systems to form. That is warm, right? Right through the Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico. We have some warm water out there, but the water temperatures have dropped off some, and you could see it here, and that's some good news because Helene moved right over this area. Look at this blue shading. Even for us in the Eastern Caribbean, where we just had that tropical disturbance move by, a lot of our water temperatures the last 7 days have gone down, and that is good. This is not going to be, or at least initially, the same scenario as a Helene because the environment is different. Every setup is different. This right here plays into our favor. There's been that temperature drop in the water. I believe maybe some of the models are kind of catching up to that, and we were showing you this yesterday. So that's some good news. Also above our heads, there's going to be more wind shear. Those are winds coming in the opposite direction that can knock off developing thunderstorms. So surface and above, that's at least some better news. Now in the short term, watching out for the areas of rain. You're seeing that here from Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. What's going on here in the Western Caribbean is enhancing that rain. Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and South, Costa Rica, Panama, watching out for flooding. This is on our Monday, scattered areas of rain. Now Cuba, watching the Yucatan, Cayman Islands, Jamaica, because what kind of starts to form here will be lifting to the north. This here in the Gulf, not organized, but this is by Tuesday, and you see this spot right here, some of the rain is going to flare up. Then it's going to lift to the north. Let me stop it here on Wednesday. I mentioned that wind shear, those winds coming from the opposite direction, that's helping to prevent any development. So Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Cuba, Mexico, Belize, I'm not seeing a tropical storm or a hurricane, anything like that headed our way, but over the next few days, very concerned about some of the flooding, and we are a little quieter. Trinidad, Barbados, St. Lucia, Antigua, Barbuda, back through Puerto Rico in the Eastern Caribbean. So let me expand this out. So this is Wednesday. Let's broaden out the picture. Same thing. Here's Wednesday. There's the extra rain starting to move into the Cayman Islands. Now, this here, not organized, but this is part of a front. This is going to help draw this area to the north, but look at the American model now. This is on Thursday. Extra rain over toward Cuba, but not showing development. And then by Friday, it's going to get tied up into the front. Now, it may develop into a tropical storm, but it's not showing a ton right now. It could be a brief tropical storm. That's what the American model is showing in the Eastern Caribbean, when yesterday it was showing a hurricane. But I believe those environmental conditions are being more factored into the models. So hopefully I would rather much that this pans out versus what we were seeing yesterday. So that's the American model showing, yeah, there could be a tropical storm developing eventually later in the week in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Now, here's the European model showing that moisture that's moved into the Caribbean. That's the tropical disturbance, so we have this moisture. Here are the remnants of Helene wrapping around it. Also some moisture. So yes, no doubt there's going to be a lot of areas of rain. It'll be scattered, but where we get it, it's going to be heavy. Central America, it's that squeeze play. 2 areas of rain helping to allow that moisture to really build. So Cayman Islands, Jamaica, this here is going forward. Let me just bring out time here and stop it on Tuesday. You see on Tuesday, the European model showing a lot of rain around, even stretching back toward the Gulf of Mexico. But what it's not showing on Tuesday is anything trying to spin up. Now, all of the models are in agreement with this. Nothing spinning up the next few days. That's awesome. So I'm not expecting development over the next 2 to 3 days. Then the European model, let's go from Tuesday, and we'll go out in time here into Wednesday, and then just kind of working our way through the week. You can see extra rain in here. Tries to show a little spin trying to develop in the Bay of Campeche, but nothing yet. So it's not showing any storm. There's the extra rain on Wednesday, right by the Cayman Islands, stretching into Cuba, even parts of Jamaica, and a lot of rain for Central America. And then you see here, deeper into the week, let me stop the clock here. This is on Friday, not showing organization. The American model is trying to show a little spin up in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, but you can see here just kind of pumping in the moisture from the Caribbean into the Gulf late week, but not showing anything that is trying to spin up. So yeah, the European model hasn't done so well this season, but I believe I would lean to this scenario as of now, just based on what I'm seeing in the environment. Now, let's broaden out the view and talk about what else is going on out there, and then I want to get back to the forecast specifically. So we covered this. It's a wait and see, but watching out for the rain over here, and then we get back over here, another developing system. It's a little unusual for this time of year to see so much coming off the coast of Africa. Usually that season starts to shut off by now. We usually look closer to home for development like we're watching, but you can see this area here trying to develop, but what has been developing over there, Isaac, Joyce, and what could become Kirk looks to stay well to the east of Bermuda and kind of just stay out to sea. So that is some good news. So you may hear of another named system out there in the Atlantic, but all indications are now that it will make that quick curve. So that's awesome. That's right where we like them, just sitting over water, not impacting anyone. I do not wish a storm on anyone. Now, as we get into the North Atlantic, Isaac is still out there. That's going to be winding its way down. So we're getting through the list of names. And then we get to the south of there. Joyce is out there, at least temporarily, going to make that curve on track. Joyce, like the system back behind it, all trying to make that curve and not making their way into the Caribbean. So that's spectacular. That we will take. Now, getting a look at the names. So Helene, obviously, Isaac out there in the North Atlantic, Joyce out there, that should fall apart. Kirk could be that area that I just showed you that looks to become a hurricane in the Atlantic but not approach the Caribbean. And then the next name on the list after that is Leslie. Maybe that's the area in the Western Caribbean lifting into the Gulf, but let's wait and see. There are so many more factors in play with this versus Helene. Helene, no doubt, was going to really develop. This area now in the Western Caribbean has more obstacles, and I like the obstacles out ahead of it. Getting a look at the Gulf of Mexico side, if you're stuck in some rain, seas are okay. Watching the seas the next couple days in the Caribbean. They will start to build. This is by Tuesday. Here's meters, here's feet. Western Caribbean, as that area of rain starts to lift to the north, Tuesday into Wednesday, we're going to see those seas building, and then eventually as well on Thursday as we get back toward the Gulf of Mexico. Even if there's not development, it is going to get choppy to rough in the Western Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico midweek into the upcoming week. Now, here's Bermuda. Everything that's been coming off the coast of Africa has been curving early, so has not been a factor for the Atlantic region of Canada or Bermuda. Just watching these fronts that will be pushing by, and right here, the remnants of Helene still spinning around and just trying to wind down. You still see some of that rain even on Monday, just kind of sitting there in place, dumping more rain exactly where they don't need it. And then there'll be a front in Quebec on Tuesday that will eventually later in the week move by New Brunswick over toward Newfoundland. Now, getting back to those rain totals, I zoomed down to Jamaica a little while ago. Cayman Islands, we're going to see the rain chance really picking up by the time we get into Wednesday. Elsewhere, watching out for some scattered showers and storms. And you see a lot more in the way of blue on the map from Haiti, Dominican Republic, back through Puerto Rico. So the rain chance in the northeastern Caribbean is not very high. We're talking a passing shower where we may get 10, 15, 25 millimeters of rain, some of us up to an inch of rain over the next 3 days, but that would be all. But Dominica to the south, seeing some spotty showers. Trinidad and Tobago, we have a slightly better chance of getting some showers and storms scattered about as we go over the next 3 days. Not as much in Suriname, watching a little bit of rain possible, Venezuela and Guyana, but these are those high totals. Panama, Costa Rica, western sections of Nicaragua, inland Honduras toward El Salvador and Guatemala. Very high totals, scattered about in Belize, but very high totals right through here. And that is going to lead to those dangerous river crossings and the mudslides. What's trying to kind of build up in here does enhance the rain over towards Central America, north of Mexico City, mainly dry right up through Texas, generally dry conditions. So we've already seen the scattered rain and storms around for some of us in Jamaica today. It is going to stay unsettled over the next few days. We work our way into the Cayman Islands by Wednesday. That's when we'll watch that rain from the south trying to lift in. 50% chance of rain for us today in Trinidad and Tobago, 40% chance tomorrow. So we could get some scattered showers and storms. We do that again in Barbados, about a 40 to 50% chance. St. Lucia, the next 2 days, a 30 to 40% chance. More in the way of isolated stuff if we get anything at all. Grenada, 40 to 50% chance, 40% chance the next couple of days. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 40% chance in Martinique over the next 3 days. And we lift just to the north in Dominica, rain chance 30% today and a 40% chance for tomorrow. Guadeloupe, 30% chance over the next 3 days. So that's very isolated northeastern Caribbean. Our rain chance is not high. Antigua and Barbuda, lots of sunshine, rain chance 30%. Lots of sun, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, rain chance just about 30%. Anguilla and St. Bart's as we get into the upcoming week. And we do that again, St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. We swing back through Puerto Rico. We could get a couple more afternoon storms, generally isolated to scattered today through early in the week. U.S. and British Virgin Islands, mainly dry, rain chance today, only 20%. 30% across the Bahamas, favoring the northern Bahamas, 20 to 30% chance in the Turks and Caicos, and an isolated shower storm in the Dominican Republic. Haiti could get a couple showers and storms today, then generally dry by Tuesday. And on the hot side, 50% chance of rain in Belize, scattered. More of it's going to be to the south over the next few days. 30% rain chance in Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire. We could get a passing shower over the next about 48 hours. Not a high chance, but we do have at least a shot at that. 30% chance in Guyana, generally dry in Suriname. Rain chance about 10 to 20%. Watching out for some scattered areas of rain and storms in Cuba. And that higher chance, Costa Rica and Panama. This is going to last for pretty much the whole week. The elevated chance of rain, Nicaragua, same thing, especially in our western sections. And that rain chance will build some by Tuesday in Honduras. Rain chance very high, Guatemala, El Salvador at times. Mudslide threat, dangerous river crossings throughout the upcoming week. That a 50% chance tomorrow and Tuesday in Mexico City. 30 to 40% chance across the Yucatan. So again, not a very high chance. Northern Colombia, though, the rain chance is elevated. A 50 to 60% chance with some areas of flooding. 30 to 40% chance in northern Venezuela. And just staying unsettled as we work our way into Bermuda. So very active pattern rolls on. Western Caribbean, watching the areas of rain building as we go throughout the week. That area will eventually move to the northwest and into the Gulf of Mexico. Gradual development is possible, not sure yet because of the water temperatures which have dropped because of the wind shear, and that is good, but overall very active, even that stuff coming off the coast of Africa. So busy week ahead. We'll track it together step by step, storm by storm. Thank you for being part of this weather community, and have a good rest of your day.